This week has been an extremely stressful week. If you saw the video that I posted on Wednesday, it can kind of give you an indication of the amount of stress that I'm under. And so some of it may have been a bit of a projection, but I meant every word that I said. Um, I won't go into what's going on, but it's a family thing, and of course, it has to do with disordered eating. So hopefully the message came through. It was definitely coming from a place of love. And then when I talked about your children watching you, I have shared in the past that, I spent the majority of my life relatively small. So when I did get to where I was having weight issues because of poor lifestyle and poor diet, that is when I started going into like the unsafe, unsustainable ways of losing weight and not really thinking, hey, my daughters are watching everything I'm doing. So some of that was like not wanting you to experience some of the things that I'm going through right now. Now, I don't necessarily blame myself for my daughter having an eating disorder, but I don't think that I helped, if that makes any sense. So just, be mindful of the things that you say about yourself and that you say about others, because again, people are watching. So as far as how things are going with maintenance, I'm I'm still moving my body. There were a few days that I got on the walking pad this week and I walked. Um, I don't really post those things anymore. And yeah, so I am still doing those things. I'm still doing push-ups. Only at 14. Oh, no, 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 no. Let me change it. Not only, I'm at 14. As far as pull-ups, I am still at 4. But that's okay. That's okay. It's something that is going to take time to gradually build up. So I'm not in a rush. There's no special competition that I'm in. So, I'll get there when I get there. But the goal is to be able to do 20 proper push-ups and 10 proper pull-ups. So if you've seen any of the pull-up videos that I've done, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're proper. Proper would be coming down and pulling myself back up. So I come down some and I pull myself up, and that is something that'll get better over time. And I've been practicing doing some hanging. And I don't know like the technical terms for things, but I'm holding myself and I'm actually bringing up some, coming back down. So I'm not necessarily always trying to pull myself up. So just practicing that movement. And as far as push-ups, I think they're called scapular push-ups, where it's not like I'm coming all the way down. I'm going like this. So just working on those motions. So that's going well. My eating has been basically the same. Um, a couple of days I struggled. I struggled to get in enough food, and it's just the amount of stress. I not to be a Debbie Downer, but I am under an extreme amount of stress. So that has definitely affected my appetite, but I am still making sure that I'm getting enough, because I know that the worst thing I could do is not eat enough, and then that's going to cause other issues. So I'm making sure that I'm eating enough. I'm definitely getting enough water in. And yeah, I've been doing some taking moments to just have some mindfulness, just complete silence, and just trying to just clear things out so that I can move forward in this focused path. And I know I probably sound like I'm all over the place, and to a degree I am, but something that brings, that I enjoy doing is making these videos, but I want to make them where there's a purpose to them, right? Like I'm not getting up here making a video just to make it. Like I want there to be a message that is taken away. And I like sharing my life, but there are certain things that I keep private, just because like it's the internet and it really doesn't have anything to do with the things that I talk about. This is kind of close to home. What I'm experiencing with my daughter, I would say, does fall into what we're talking about and what we're doing here. So she's not on a GLP-1 medication and she's not overweight. However, the way that she views herself dictates everything else. So now I want to say that to you too. The way that you view yourself, your belief in yourself will determine if you're going to be successful or not. So if you are on this, well, I always fail, I've never been able to be consistent, things like that, that will be true. That will be true for you. So we can acknowledge certain behaviors in the past or certain patterns, but that doesn't define you. That doesn't mean that you're stuck at that. So I could go on and on about how I used to just give up or do things for a few days, but that hasn't been the case with this. So just speak kindly to yourself. And this is not about fake confidence or anything like that, but you have to have some sort of belief or hope that you can do this. And what we want to do is get away from doing it the extreme way or the unhealthy way. And there are extreme and unhealthy ways. And so if you're let me say this, if you are under the direction of a doctor and they're telling you to eat X amount of calories and you're not making these decisions on your own, right? It's your doctor. You and your doctor are coming up with a plan. I do understand that people can go down to a reduced amount of calories. It's not supposed to be long term. And again, if you're under the direction of a doctor, that's different than us just deciding, well, I'm not going to eat for a few days or, I'm going to eat 500 calories a day or things like that. And I, I'm going to go so far as to say, if you are feeling like you can't eat, you're not able to get the amount of nutrition in that you need, your dose is too high. No, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse or anything like that, but if you're on a dose and you can't eat, it's too high. It's too high for you. So instead of rushing to see how high we can get quickly because we think weight's going to just drop off, I want you to remember that this is what you're doing now is going to determine how things are for the rest of your life, right? So if you're extreme and you keep going through this where you're losing and gaining 20 pounds every few months, that's not healthy. It's not healthy for you. And you'll see that there are professional bodybuilders that have died at relatively young ages. Now, I don't know exactly what goes into that, but I do personally know some people who do things like that. And it seems pretty extreme. But they enjoy doing it. And that's for them to determine what's good and what's not. But I just want to see you be successful at this and going at it, approaching this the way that we've done things in the past, that just doesn't make sense to me. Um, so at the end of the day, you have to do what works for you, but just make healthier choices, right? No one is saying that, yes, we know whole foods and things like that are healthy. There are different meat cuts or whatever that are healthier than others. I'm just saying make healthier choices more than you make unhealthy choices. And we can say there are no good or bad foods, but there are things that are good for you and things that are bad for you, right? We know that's the truth. So as long as you're doing more of the things that are good for you than more of the things that are not so good for you, you have a chance of seeing some real progress. But ultimately, you want to be consistent and do things that actually make you feel good, right? So if having a little bit of ice cream or something every day makes you feel good and everything else seems to be pretty balanced, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're eating, I'm not even going to get into that. Just make sure you're making healthier choices more often than not and moving your body in some sort of way. I do believe in strength training, resistance training, but what works for me doesn't work for everybody. And maybe you're at a state where you can't do any of that yet. You could walk, even if you walk for 3 or 4 minutes. That is something. You'd be surprised. It doesn't always require all these extreme things. So, um, I think that's all I have for you today. I don't want to be rambling on, but my point is be mindful of how you talk to yourself. And you've got to be your biggest cheerleader. right? I'm rooting for you, but you got to also be willing to make the appropriate changes. And I know it's hard. That's the thing. I do want to say that before I go. I know it's hard. It's not going to be easy. It will get easier, but I said this in the last video, a lifetime of bad habits, it doesn't just go away. It just doesn't. Okay. So just remember that and give yourself grace. I know this is January, new year, new me. I'm going to do everything under the sun. Let's skip that this time. Let's skip that this time. So let me know what's working well for you, what's not necessarily working so well. And hopefully between me and other people in the comments, we can help you. So that is it. Remember, we can share our journeys, but we should never compare them. Bye.